On this week's episode of Marketing O'Clock.
Move over, crash test dummies. Google has launched their own, or Meridian.
And we have some positive and negative things to say about new PMax announcements.
Plus, we get a serious impression that TikTok isn't dead yet.
All on today's show.
Welcome, you are listening to Marketing O'Clock. Just stay tuned. Digital marketing news, but let's get specific. Digital ads, SEO and analytics, social media and more. Pretty much everything that'll make your website perform. With new shows every Friday. We give you the news with sass and puns and definitely hot takes. Thank you for tuning in. You know what time it is. It's officially Marketing O'Clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.
Hey there, I'm Christine Zernheld.
AKA Shep.
I'm Jess Bunn.
And I'm Greg Finn.
And it is officially Marketing O'Clock.
Here on January 31st, 2025.
And sorry again, we are virtual for this one. This is me, hand up. I had some child care issues, some winter storm warnings, so it is what it is. But I think we did good last week, Shep.
We did pretty well, and you have to show off your nice new background in your office.
Oh.
You got a pretty good setup.
True facts, yeah.
Unlike me and Jess, who are in prison, and
I'm not Greg's usual office, so I blame Greg for this background too.
Yeah, Shep, you look like you're in a hostage video, and then Shep, I think Jess looks like she was recorded in black and white and then technicolored the color in.
Yeah.
And very washed out. You look like you might be jaundiced, Jess.
I mean, I might be. Should I get my Billy Rubin checked?
Yeah, you should. Who's he?
Never really.
Okay, well, the show must go on because we actually have some really exciting news to talk about this week from Google Ads land. Right after we recorded last week on Thursday, Ginny tweeted to announce that the time has come. Campaign level negatives for PMax are officially rolling out.
Let's
And
go.
I know, the internet was ablaze. Mike Ryan made a funny meme where it was like poor baby Simba running away from the wildebeests. And all of the wildebeests are labeled PMax updates. And then Simba is your LinkedIn feed. And that's like really how, because everyone's sharing they takes.
Everybody thinks it's just repeating and regurgitating everything,
Yeah.
trying to be the first.
Because the take is there's some pretty big limitations with this. First of all, rumors were true. No support for negative keyword lists, which is a very big bummer. And you only get 100 per campaign.
Yeah.
100 keywords, negative keywords. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've set these up for clients this week. We are already maxed out at 100 keywords, like without, just for like brand exact match exclusions, variations of the brand. So I hope they're going to raise the number eventually, but I don't really think they are.
Doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things you can do, right? Like you can use some phrase match negative keywords to try to get more of the bad in one fell swoop. The other thing that you can do is you can use account level negatives. You got to be very careful with those though. Like if you only sell new products, things like used, things like, reselling, like
Logins.
yeah, like at the account level, you can be very selective. You just probably don't want to do like brand at the account level if you've got a brand campaign. So
Yeah.
you can really shoot yourself in the foot if you don't do it the right way. But I actually put a blog post up over at Cypress North, kind of talking about how you could try to get the most out of those 100 keywords.
Yeah, and you have 1,000 at the account level, but they will apply to all of your campaigns. Another option is Ginny also confirmed, this was something that somebody spotted in the wild a couple weeks ago, but now it's confirmed that retailers are going to have the option to opt out of brand exclusions. Just like you can have your brand exclusions turned on for the search inventory part of PMax, but then opt out of it for your shopping ad. So if somebody's looking for your brand name, you could still show up in the shopping results. So that might make sense for some businesses too.
For the lazy people.
I know. You just really have to be strategic about it.
If your goal is to have a low number of campaigns, this would be great.
Yeah.
If your goal is to like understand where you're spending and why, and coming up with cohesive strategies to say shopping is going to have brand included and Set up shopping campaigns, set up PMax campaigns, do brand exclusions on your PMax, and then use brand and shopping where you have more negative keywords. You can actually see terms and stuff.
Yeah. It also just makes me want to only use smart shopping and then like separate page feed campaigns and not have them combined. Because they're just making everything so hard. There were some other updates in her post last week. She said that there is now an option to prioritize high-value new customers. This is something that was in beta. Now it's out of beta. You can bid more aggressively for users that are predicted to have a high lifetime value. My most excited update is that device targeting for PMax is in beta. And I immediately emailed my rep for a couple of accounts to see if we could be a part of this, because this is really the worst part of PMax. I think the hardest part about PMax for lead gen is the device thing. Being able to have a separate mobile campaign would be a game changer, because mobile is not doing as well.
And there are campaigns and accounts and businesses that do better on mobile, way better. And imagine you are so mobile focused and mobile first and you really want to own that. That's also nice to have that side of the coin too. This is phenomenal. Can't say enough good things. We trash Google a lot for the negative. Being able to do device targeting is a literal game changer for PMax, 100%.
I know. I feel like she should have led with that, or had a separate tweet, because it didn't get a shine because everyone was focused on the negative keyword thing.
Yeah, we should workshop. I'm sure she listens to the show. We should workshop. Jenny, next time, just we'll help reformat it and be all the good stuff at the end, and then we'll help you slide the negative stuff in there.
Yeah. Or just
sandwich.
Yeah.
Whatever the version is
on a stage. That would have been really fun.
Oh. Are you for hire? You do the Google announcements on stage?
Just the good ones.
Okay.
But I could get people fired up,
Okay. Ready? We're going to role play. And next up on stage is Christine Zernheld, a.k.a. Shop, and she's going to talk about some new Google updates here to PMax Shop. Take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the news you've been waiting for. No, it's not just negative keywords for PMax. We are giving you device targeting! Then I would have showgirls come out.
Wow.
Okay, that might be problematic.
There were a couple more announcements that I should get to. None of them are as exciting as that. So you can now segment and download asset group reports by device, time, and more. She said this is now available globally. She also said that search term insights, you can see whether queries are coming from PMax keyword targeting or from search themes, or from your assets. This is something we talked about that was spotted last week as well. And then something she didn't even tweet about, but was in the article, was that you can use URL contains URL rules for campaigns with product feeds now. So I think that'll be really useful for certain people as well. So PMax is getting better. Wish we could use lists, but very exciting.
I just can't believe somebody got a job like you just did so quickly and then lost it so fast. That has to go in the Guinness Book of World Record. You just absolutely killed it and then brought up the showgirls part.
Showgirls?
And lost it. Yeah.
What's wrong with showgirls?
Just wholesome showgirls?
Like the Rockettes.
Yeah.
So no, not going to work.
Rated PG.
Yeah.
But I think the movie was MA.
Oh,
Not
you're
showgirls. Oh my God.
No.
No.
Everybody's going by the bell?
They've got fans. Do you have more news for us, Greg?
I do, and it's actually some more great news from Google. Google has announced that Meridian, its MMM, is live to everybody on the 29th of January, on Wednesday of this week. If you don't know what MMM is, it's a marketing mix model, and there were some really cool features that Google has started with Meridian. And I was on the briefing with the Google team, and I gotta say, I wasn't super pumped on this back in the announcement in fall, but the fact that it's going to be all open source and you can see all the code in GitHub and you can sort of model in your own format, I really think that they're trying very hard. And they said that there are sort of these different pillars that are going to make Meridian the choice for people with their MMM, and it's innovation, transparency, actionability, and education. And you kind of need to be spending a lot of money on alternate channels to really invest in an MMM. You just have to have a lot of spends in a lot of different places and really not know what's happening. So this is not for everybody, and I totally understand that. But the fact that it's open source, I think, is really cool. And one other thing that is very interesting is they're bringing in search behavior. And one example showed just like some TV impressions, some paid search impressions, and then sales, and kind of layered all those together when it was being shown. And it also seems like they're going to look at some of the organic search and incorporate that in and sort of remove bias. So if it seems like, so you could just take like those levels of organic search and be like, well, this has been up and we're going to use this data to really make sure that all the other data is correct. And so they use Google query volume in the model to come up with a control for the baseline interest and then see how your other marketing mix elements are impacting that, basically. But that's going to be the control so that there is that, let's say, guide rail there. And the entire repository, like I said, is on GitHub. There's going to be a website. There's going to be a community behind it. So it does seem like they're investing in it, which is awesome. And then the paid search impression data is going to be mapped on top of this. And so at the moment, it seems like there's going to be just that impression data, not click data. But you will be able to see how things are impacted with your paid search impressions. And then they're going to look at like the delta of your paid search impressions to your organic impressions. So it does seem like that is going to be at the query level, not necessarily the keyword level. But overall, if you do spend a lot in a variety of different places, Meridian does seem like it can be very configurable, customizable, and it's open source. So it's probably a go-to. And then the fact that you can kind of choose your own adventure with how you want to analyze things is nice. That would be a worry that I'd have is, when you look at GA4 data and you have data-driven attribution, you don't really know what that formula is. I would be worried that the company that provides the analytics may weight the ads that that same company is providing, right? But in this case, it seems like you can sort of do what you want. So it's going to be a game changer for those with lots of different ad platforms and networks and types to be able to see what's actually providing the most impact.
Nice. I think they missed an opportunity to name it Meridian with 3 M's, though.
I was just going to say Meridian.
Yeah.
And now for this week's
Cool tool.
As a reminder, our Cool Tool segment is not an official endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something we found in our travels that may be of use to our listeners and is really, really cool.
This week's Cool Tool is a training so you can stop straining your braining over setting up things like dynamic remarketing, offline conversions, server-side container, GA4 and ads tracking, as well as ROAS or ROAS measurement. It's a free video tutorial from Adrian Decker, and all it'll cost you is a like and a comment on his post. So we'll have the link to that post in the show notes. What?
We gotta get rid of this. I'm done with these people that are always, you just gotta comment PMax for this.
Okay, actually, we have a different cool tool this week, and I'm gonna rhyme again because y'all love it. It's all a buzz with marketing bros and ladies and everyone else. Tables is shaking his head. No one can see it, but I can. It is from Bram van der Hillen. It is Bram's Buzz, I think he's calling it, and it is daily news in a feed. So you could just get quick snippets from the man. We quote him all the time. He is a great news source. Just get at it. Bram's Buzz.
Yeah. And do you have to give your firstborn and comment to get in there, or can you say subscribe?
Get out of here. You don't have to get anything. You can just subscribe. It says join subscribe. You click a button, and there it is.
We got to do right by the audience.
I love the audience. They hate me.
Now it's time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a #fire digital marketing take with extra spice served up for you. We simply deliver the take for your consumption. We give no opinions. We don't influence. You make the call.
This week's Take of the Week comes from Rob Bettis over on Blue Sky. This might be our first Blue Sky Take of the Week, folks. Woo! And Rob says, Google ads be like ... Your campaign is limited by budget. You current daily budget, that's what Rob wrote, $13. Recommended budget, $6,100,000,000.
That's the take part, right? That's not the actual recommendation.
Yeah. Assuming that they didn't say to spend $6 billion a day.
And by the way, it's like 100% ROAS.
So good take, Rob. Thanks.
Now it's time for this week's Pew Pew Lightning Round. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 3 parts: paid, organic, and social.
First up in the paid universe this week, we're going to kick it off with Matching Corner from Anthony Higman.
Amen.
This week, he has freeze match in his account for truck injury lawyer. Search term, Todd Trucks. Is that keyword? Phrase match, truck accident lawyers. Search terms, J Trucks and Associates PC. Close variant. So that was Matching Corner with Anthony Higman.
I also I love it because I just picture him at his desk in a suit, like outside the building. There's like a bus shelter with his face all over it. Across the street, like Times Square, he's all over the billboard. And he's just searching for, truck accident lawyers out there. And it's like, oh, Todd Trucks. I can just picture him fuming. He's like a cartoon character. Smoke's coming out of his head.
He says, nope, LOL. That was what his caption was. I also love how
That's short for him.
it was a little longer. He said something else, but that was like the general sentiment. I love how I always picture him in a suit too. And we've met him, wasn't wearing a suit. We've Zoomed with him now, wasn't wearing a suit. But he'll just always be in a suit in my heart. I don't know.
My recollection, on the Zoom, even at PBC Hero, he was in a suit. Like my mind went back and like erased it, like I've been like severed or something to just think of him as in a suit.
Yeah, not true. Nope. Next up.
It's just hysterical. Where Google's always like, oh, our AI, our machine learning is so good. And then they just found a person with the last name Trucks. Literally, his name is Todd Trucks. I'm on his page right now. It's jtrucks.com.
What does he do?
And they just like, it's a lawyer. His last name is Trucks.
He's in a cargo.
They're making phrase match just broken, so we all don't care when they take it away, and then they'll do it with Exact next.
But how could that possibly be even remotely considered phrase? I understand. This is the name of a person that isn't a truck injury lawyer.
Why is he an injury lawyer, though? Does he do personal injury? By the name of Trucks.
Oh.
Just check.
Like, are people like, oh, I need like a bud and to figure, like, I want a friend, and let's just show Jess.
I would be a friend.
Close variant.
Wild.
Speaking of friends, Nava from Optimizer is a friend of Microsoft Advertising. And they had a meeting this week, and she thinks we should not sleep on Microsoft PMax. She said you're going to be able to view and export metrics broken down by audience name or category, as well as asset level performance metrics. They are rolling out conversion value rules similar to what we have in Google Ads. So if you're using value-based bidding, you could say that people are worth more if they're in a certain location, certain device, or from a certain audience. They are also rolling out new customer acquisition goals on Microsoft PMax, and LinkedIn targeting can now be an audience signal. That is pretty cool. So you could use job function or whatever. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I've seen Microsoft PMax. Shep, you've seen it. What are your thoughts?
I think it's okay for e-commerce. I don't like it for lead gen.
So hit or miss.
Yeah. Nava and the Optimizer team also got a conclusive answer to see how placement exclusions work for PMax. This is a really big week for Nava and the Optimizer team. This is like a big story. So she said, account-wide placements can be applied through the API, and those will be respected by PMax. I like her use of the word respected. Like,
Like, we'll honor that. That's fine.
PMax doesn't respect me, okay? Placement exclusion lists that you set at the MCC level and apply across accounts must be done through the UI, and then PMax will respect them. And then she says that campaign level exclusions are not a PMax feature, if you didn't know. She also has a handy little chart that she shared on LinkedIn that breaks this all down that you can bookmark if you're confused about any of that. So thank you, Nava. Next up, Iya Baikov shared this week a ad from ClickUp. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing at Greg. He's smiling.
Why are you laughing at me?
Because you told her how to say it, and she said,
I said something totally different.
How do you think you pronounce this name?
Iya Baikov.
Iya Baikov.
Is the first letter an I or an L?
I have to say Iya.
Okay. Iya Baikov. I hope that Iya calls me and tells me how to pronounce his name. And I'm really, really sorry about this. I'm a really dumb American. But anyway, he found an ad for ClickUp, which, you know, we all love ClickUp here. It's an ad, headline 1, Google ad, Kaggle is expensive and limited. Another ClickUp ad, headline, the number one Trello alternative is ClickUp. So just a reminder that people are breaking Google terms of service and using the brand name of their competitors in their ads. I don't know if this is going to end well for them, but people are sneaking by and doing it.
Well, technically you can do this, but when you you have to be diligent. And if you're Kaggle or if you're Trello in this case, you have to go submit something and say that your trademark term is being used in an ad and you can get it taken down. So to me, like, Google will allow it until you go make that action against it and say a trademark infringement. So it's more like a ICYMI, like make sure your competitors aren't using your name. And if they are, you could stop it from happening.
I've been disapproved for using my client's own brand name in their ad.
Yeah.
That's good.
How do you explain that? How do you explain that?
There's no explanation with Google.
Okay. So I think you could get caught even if your competitor isn't the one doing it. But anyway, people are doing it. I don't. Next up, this is our favorite type of news. It's about advertiser verification. And Google has reorganized the advertiser verification documentation. So go check that out if it's something you're interested in. Also, apparently, if you're in some countries, you don't need advertiser verification. So just like have fun, you know?
You may want to read this anyway, though, because it's just riveting material. And now it's been reorganized.
Download it on your Kindle, sit back and relax. Pour yourself a beverage and just check it out. Next up, YouTube is testing a new cost per hour masthead. When news like this comes out this time of year, it's like, what is Doritos doing during the Super Bowl? You know?
Right. This is not for us. We can't pay for this.
Does anyone have any guesses? I'll tell you what Doritos should do. Yeah, they should hire my 1.5-year-old because she's a brand evangelist.
Your 1.5-year-old would do so much damage to Doritos. That's the one that's making these crafts you keep sharing?
No, that's the 4-year-old.
Oh,
the 4-year-old
keep the 4-year-old away from Doritos.
Can we get
So what
bring
Jess,
Doritos in?
Jess, you haven't seen this craft. We should show it.
I did see the craft. The soup that with the spoon right in it. It's amazing. I was
It's a craft.
5 stars would eat.
by soup, it's like literal pieces of gum. It looks like veggie straws, Skittles. It's honestly like whatever RFK is trying to get rid of with
Yeah.
dyes. It's like a giant blue vat of liquid.
What did she call it, Shep? Like Squiddle something?
Like kitty squiddies.
Kitty Squid.
It's a good name.
We gotta get
Take it all back, Shep.
We gotta get
Yeah.
the image up. It's
Take-
so good.
delete everything I just said about it being a bad idea.
Next up, Meta has officially announced they are now testing Threads ads with a small number of advertisers. But if you followed Brahm on LinkedIn or you subscribed to his newsletter like we talked about before, you already knew this because he reported it like a month ago. I'm surprised it took them this long to make Threads ads, but they're here now. That is it for paid. What's happening in organic?
All right, this week in Organic, Glenn Gabe has a monster post, a breakthrough post, and frankly, a post that's not good for AI overviews, in my opinion. It's called The Twiddler That Didn't Twiddle, How to Track Clicks and Click-Through Rate for Google's AI Overviews if you have a manual action. Not to unpack even a title.
I don't like it.
What is no?
No, Twiddler to me sounds like some sort of like device that Brian Johnson from that documentary Don't Die would put on his son to like measure nighttime effects.
It sounds like a craft in the Shep household.
Did you guys see the most recent Brian Johnson?
I did. I just think I don't want to be a part of this Brian Johnson. I would never know who he was if you didn't tell me about him. And I'd like to exclude myself from this narrative.
He measures nighttime activity.
He's a disgusting man.
Of his son. And then
Did you see it, Jess?
No. Why would I see that? I don't see anything unless you guys send it to me. I don't want to see it. It sounds terrible.
Okay, hang on. It's worth it. Jess, I'm going to send it to you. Make sure you're not on a work computer when you look this up.
She literally is.
Computer.
She's at
You're on work computer. Jess.
She's at your work computer.
Okay,
By the way.
I won this, not that, for sure. What? But that to me is what a twiddler is like a tool to measure weird things. But anyway, a twiddler, at least according to Marie Haynes, is an adjustment that Google can implement, boost, demote, or filter rankings. And I'm not exactly sure about how manual actions are applied when the rankings are processed, according to Gabe. But basically, he went and looked at a variety of sites that were hit with a manual action. When they were hit with a manual action, they stopped showing in the SERPs. And what happened, and we talked about this last week, is you could still show in the AI overviews. So because these sites were removed from the SERPs, the only access that they had to show up in any of the SERPs pages is in AI overviews. And the results were actually pretty shocking. Maybe more shocking than Brian Johnson even found out about, Jess.
This guy's last name is Johnson.
Well, it looks like a giant Johnson.
I don't like that we're comparing ourselves either. And I need to know where, I don't need to know. Actually, I need to know less. I want to know less.
Same.
But anyway, it's my new goofball fascination of 2025. But back to Glenn Gabe, who is the polar opposite of a goofball. The interesting thing with what he found is that you could see some of these ranking fluctuations with the average position, and then you could see the click-through rate on these. And these had manual actions, and Glenn was able to get access into this. And the shocking thing was that if you look at the average position before the manual action, sometimes things would be like, oh, I'm in the 3rd position or the 4th position. But you could still have really high click-through rates, like over 10%, that 10 to 15% range. And then when that manual action happened, allegedly, the only place they were ranking is in these AI overviews. So you could see the average position stays pretty flat here at 1, 1st position. And the click-through rate was under 5% for the majority of them. So the higher technical rankings, because the average position of AI overviews is so high, but less clicks than even being in the 2nd or 3rd position of the normal SERPs, which was shocking to me.
Yeah.
And as always, Glenn Gabe has just a phenomenal blog post. I will not do it justice if I even try to talk about it. So go check it out. The Twiddler that didn't twiddle. Again, doesn't sound like that's happening in the Johnson family. And then one other, sorry for the slander last week, Glenn, we had said that the price went from 200 to 150. That was just reading comprehension on our part. We got that wrong. So Reddit's price went from 150 to 200. So anybody from last week, just know Glenn was right and we were wrong, per usual. All right, and from Anthony Hickman, he says, people also search brands carousel. And he said this, pretty sure it's already been reported on. I don't think I've seen it, but he was doing a search for his own company, AdSquire, and there were people also search for coming up, and you could scroll horizontally through his competitors, even when people are searching for his brand name. So, hate it. All right, Google Search Console is also updating the reports to be within 30-minute intervals, and this is changing from roughly 3 to 4 hours of updates. So now that data will be roughly 30 minutes old. Very cool. Love it.
Wow. Wish we could have that in Google Ads.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Especially on the conversion side of things.
Yeah.
All right, and for PB Kirk, this didn't make the take of the week last week. It was in there. We just had so many takes last week, we couldn't get to them all, but I wanted to touch on this. He says, I still do not think Google fully understands the ramifications of killing an entire generation of brand owners' unthinking reliance on their analytics platform. He's talking about Google. simply because of a UI overhaul. And I know there are good reasons for changing the foundation of UA to GA4, and I know people need to learn to adapt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm telling you, as somebody who listens to a lot of brand owners, they do not like GA4, and they do not regularly use it anymore for regular insights. They used to go to Google for, and Google lost that attention. He put periods after everything, so I had to read it like that.
Thanks, Kirk.
Well, I mean, I think he's got a great point, but
I agree.
also I think the tool has fundamentally changed. You just can't be a novice using it anymore. And I am not a fan of GA4 in the GA4 interface. I do think it can be very beneficial if you have a data team and you can get that information outside of GA4. And to me, the biggest thing is like that sample data is a killer, where we just never had that with UA. And now when you look at anybody that's got any type of volume, you just get sample data in the interface, and it's just completely unusable. And that's something we are actually have a lot of business on right now is with GA4, you're not beholden just to GA4. That's the thing I don't think anybody even knows about. You could take GA4, you can connect it to BigQuery, and you can get all of your data unsampled. And then you can take all that unsampled data and you can model it any way you want. You're not beholden to DDA or last click. You could do whatever you want with it. But yes, I completely agree with Kirk. This GA4 is not the same as UA. It's not made to be like a web interface. It's not made to be for novices. And that's a huge change, and people hate it. But at the same time, you can still get whatever you want out of it. It just is going to take time, and it's probably going to cost you money, but you can do whatever you want with it. You just can't do it in platform. And that's a huge change. And I do think it's going to be a big negative for Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a free tool. So people that can't afford tools want to use it. And those are the same people that can't afford to maybe do some of those other things. Not everyone, but like that's a big part of the audience.
Yeah, and if analytics does matter for your company, you still can get everything you need to get out of it. You just can't really do it in the platform. It's so strange. It's like the recording and reporting and data aspect of it works. It's just like the interface sucks. And it's sampled. And it's just like unusable. So it's a big problem, but there are fixes. And again, anybody, I mean, we're talking to somebody that we're working on RFP for, and it's like everything's sampled. It's like, well, you use unsampled. You can't use GA4. And everybody's like, oh, I didn't even know that. You know? And I think more people need to know that. But I agree with Kirk. It's going to be a big negative. Okay, also from Barry Schwartz over on Search Engine Roundtable, there is a bulk update for Google business profiles. You can now just select multiple locations if you have multiple in your account, and you can change and copy the hours from one location to the other. A nice feature there for people with many franchisees or locations. Also from Search Engine Roundtable, Google search tests frequently saved label on the local results. Barry is an image of somebody that was always saving the Nest rooftop bar in Seattle. 4.2 stars out of 5.
Oh.
And when they searched for places, it came up and said frequently saved. So again, I think that's pretty cool. Bing is testing AI answers in a carousel. So it appears to me it's like the citations are on the carousel. It's not like different carousel of information. It's showing cane versus a walker for seniors. And the sources, instead of being listed vertically, it's now horizontally. You swipe through on the cards. Whatever. Something very interesting, Brave Search Re-Rank is launching, and it lets you boost or remove sites from the search results. So if you use Brave, you can hit a thumbs down and see less of the results from that site, or a thumbs up if you like it. I think it's really cool. Google used to do this a long time ago, like back when, like right before Google Plus launched, and you could see what some of your friends liked and things like that. That went away pretty quick. But at least this, with Re-Rank, you can kind of choose and say, I want less of this or more of this. I dig it.
You're using that as
and then Yahoo Search has an AI chat and AI answers coming into search. I just feel like this might be like 10 years too late, but good for Yahoo. They've been like previewed, like in 2023, they're like, oh, big things are coming. And it's 2 years later and they have AI chat and AI answers. So cool.
It's kind of sweet, you know?
Yeah. Yahoo. And then there was a big hullabaloo about HubSpot and some of the declines in rankings that many people spotted from ranking tools. 5 HubSpotters or ex-HubSpotters had talked about it to Danny Goodwin over on Search Engine Land. There were a few things that I thought were interesting. And a lot of people who were kind of doing the digging looked at things and were like, well, some of these terms that they were ranking for weren't like core terms, and frankly, probably wouldn't have got them business. And Braden Becker, the former principal growth marketing manager, said that I believe their quality standards are vastly more sophisticated than they were when I was working on the HubSpot blog, but the company is paying a little for that. And just because Google makes a grand decision on a big website doesn't mean the victim objectively deserved it. I agree. And then Becker went on to say, this is my favorite thing, is he said, from what I've seen, top of funnel, non-ICP or ideal customer profile targeting content seems to be the most that's impacted. Is this partly the result of a wide-scale strategic deprioritization? Maybe. I don't know. But there's a lot of good write-ups on HubSpot, a lot of good takes on that. So if you're interested in the case study, I would implore you to go check that out over on Blue Sky, LinkedIn, and X. All right, and the search quality rater guidelines have been updated. There's a focus on spam. They updated to say what the page quality lowest and low sections are to better align with Google search web spam policies with examples, and then added some guidance on assessing minor interpretations and intents. So it's 110 pages if you want to go check it out. Barry's got it over at Search Engine Roundtable. That's it in organic. What's happening in social, bud?
All right, first up in social this week from CNBC, Perplexity AI has a new revision to their merger proposal that would create a new entity combining Perplexity and TikTok US. It would now also allow for the US government to own up to 15%. So that's a big deal. And it's also not a purchase, but a merger with TikTok, which I think they think makes it more attractive to ByteDance. But I don't know how people feel about the government owning half. Like that, I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts? That seems a little crazy.
No, I like it. I think it's a name that would just like flow off the tongue. Perp Talk.
Oh no. This sounds like the Twiddlers should get involved in Perp Talk.
Yeah.
I think it would be good if we made a joke last week, like if it made a lot of money and could like get us out of debt or something. I don't know.
You should make that joke last week. You're like, pay my taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want my taxes paid too.
Put the money in Social Security or something. Whatever's the most broken.
Social media security. There's a
Love
joke
it.
there.
I get it.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so you also talked last week about the executive order that was giving pause for 75 days on enforcement of the ban. But now it looks like, according to a statement from the president over the weekend, that there should be a decision on the app's future in the next 30 days. So that's a lot faster than 75, obviously, if I can do math. Oracle is another big player that people are talking about. But when asked about it, Greg, you do a better Trump impression, I think, than anyone here. Can you read this quote for me?
No, not with Oracle. Numerous people are talking to me. Very substantial people. Very important people. People, frankly, that don't talk to anybody else about buying it. And I will probably make that decision probably over the next 30 days. 30 days, probably a fantastic 30 days. Some people are saying this past 30 days have been the best 30 days of their lives now that I am here. But Congress has given it 90 days. 90 days. Who needs 90 days? 30 days. Look at what I've done in 30 days. If we can save TikTok, I think it would be a good thing. A great thing. People need TikTok. People like TikTok. A great app. A great app.
It's the same thing every time. It gets better as you go.
There was some improv in there too, just so in case anyone's worried about like exact quotes. That was really good. I have to say, Shep and I were driving in a car earlier this week, and she did a Trump impression, and I didn't even know what she was doing. So she had to tell me. So
Yeah, yours is the best.
Like Shane Gillis does a really good one. You just have to like Marco Rubio. I hated TikTok. Little Marco Rubio. Nobody likes him anyway. A horrible person. You just have to like add like things that make no sense to what you're saying, and then it's like,
the mannerisms. You need to if I could give you some constructive feedback, you need to work on what you're doing with your lips. I feel like you need to work.
Yeah.
You got the hands down. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And you're
What
still
does she know, Shep?
you're still doing
Who's she? Just
Red
Boudet?
thing.
Boudet, who's she? I am on It's Due. Shows 4 days a week. Jess can only do 1 day a week. I have 5 shows. Fantastic shows. Revered shows. Some people say the best shows.
Barry Schwartz, great guy. Fantastic guy.
Fantastic guy.
Okay, we're going to move on. Otherwise, we never will. One final note on the talk. In honor of Data Privacy Day, they made this whole big statement about how
Rusty
it's
Brick.
important. Get out of here.
A beautiful name. It's the way it flows off the lip. Rusty Brick.
You're still not incorporating my feedback. You can't stand it. Much better. Oh man! All right, it was this week. Data Privacy Day, Data Protection Day, depending on where you live, and TikTok decided to use it as an opportunity to reflect on their role in it and how privacy plays into your digital life. So they go through.
I'm sorry, what?
Listen. They put out this whole big post. I'm not going to read it. You guys can read it. It could be a dying gasp, a rallying cry, or neither. I don't know if people care, but they really made a big deal about it. And it's out there if you want to read it.
This is like
giving you a lot of
Cosby celebrating Women's Day.
Yeah,
Oh,
agreed.
you said it. You said
Or
it.
something like that. You come up with one.
I'm not going to.
TikTok talking about privacy?
Listen, I'm just reporting the news. I have no opinions. I don't influence. I agree it's stupid.
Also, why is
Yeah.
there a Data Privacy Day? Like, we have a day for everything.
Yeah, we do, but it's data protection.
Data
day.
privacy should be every day.
I agree. Or just take my information. If you feed me cookies, I don't care. All right, let's move on. Thread users are rejoicing if they like analytics. Detailed post insights are now available via the mobile app. You can see them on Web 2. You can look at top performing posts, your follower growth, interaction rates. You can also see all of your posts and then sort the view by different types of engagement. So things with the most likes, replies. It's nice to have.
I think you mispronounced that,
threads.
Jess.
What?
I think you said users.
What? Do you saying user? Like
There's only one.
Oh, Adam Mosseri's rolling over in his grave.
They should tell you how many times I saw one of the posts on Instagram and then wanted to see it, but I didn't want to open Threads, so I never did. That should be
I think would be a violation of your data privacy, and we're celebrating that this week.
I'm not.
All right, we'll keep it meta here. A couple quick updates from the gram. First, the grid you may have noticed now has like a more vertical look to it, or the long or tall grid, excuse me. It's replacing the squares. Quote from Mr. Mosseri himself, because most photos and videos that are uploaded to Instagram at this point are vertical, and rectangles do a better job showing those photos and videos. Thank you so much. Also, the platform announced last week that longer reels will now be shown in recommendations. Previously, you could make them, but only 90-second or less reels were eligible to be recommended. So that is changing. So that's
Why
nice.
would that take so long?
And they didn't want to lean into it. But if TikTok's going away, they're going to make a tall grid and they're going to recommend longer content.
It went away and it came back. They missed the opportunity.
Well, they've probably been working on this for years. They just couldn't figure it out.
Unbelievable. No, they haven't. They're the most reactive company ever. I guess minus the metaverse.
Oh, I forgot about the metaverse. All right. Last up in social, let's get out of here. In-stream payments will be coming to X later this year. Linda Yacarino posted another milestone for the Everything app. Visa is our first partner for the X Money account, which will debut later this year. So something to look forward to, I guess.
It's Data Privacy Day.
Rejoice.
And that brings us to our real life segment, straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes. It's time for Working Hard or Hardly Working, where we talk about what's going on in our IRL work, good, bad, or otherwise.
Google, if you have Gmail, is like really shoving Gemini down my throat, I feel like. So I've been trying a little bit. I do like the Write with AI feature when you can just like give a prompt of what you want to convey in the email and then it'll write it for you. I will change every single word in the email, but I feel like just because they did it first, I'm still writing it faster, even though I'm changing absolutely everything. I don't know why. It's crazy. And it's easier than doing it in ChatGPT. It's already in there. Also, something not as good, I tried to use it to search. I said something like, can you find the date when my client's website launched last year? This is the point of contact who would have told me. Absolutely nothing. That is exactly why I want Gemini in my inbox, and it was totally useless. So
That would be the most helpful thing.
yeah, not great so far.
Be amazing if they could nail search.
Yeah, really nice.
Good ball. For me, team vibes, right? We had some folks from our Buffalo office go out to Rochester, and then we had some folks from our Rochester office come out to Buffalo, and we worked in each other's spaces, and we don't get a lot of FaceTime with each other, even though we're constantly doing this remote thing. And it was just nice to be in person and experience each other, have some other in-person meetings. I feel like I talk about that all the time, but there's really, in this virtual world, a ton of value to FaceTime. And I think especially across teams that work in different locations, you can kind of feel the vibe out and expose each other to new fun things and sit in different lunchrooms. And it's nice. So
Was it nice though? I feel like our Rochester, I'm out of Rochester, Jess and Shep are Buffalo. I feel like our Rochester team is like a virus. Did they come in and cause a ruckus?
I accomplished absolutely nothing, but I had a great time.
when we
When you're
were
in
there,
Rochester or
yeah.
when our Rochester team was in Buffalo?
When we were in Rochester, I had to work until 10 p.m. that night, but I mean, I had fun.
we had some very good conversations in person
Yeah.
that were work related. It was interesting, the dynamic of Rochester folks coming here to Buffalo. They called us corporate, which is really funny, but I think it's just because we have like an office floor. It's just a different vibe. But they had fun calling them out.
All right, and something working hard for me is we have absolutely fantastic Tableau reports for one of our clients that takes a look at all this volume that's very hard to get at a very granular weekly and monthly level. And we were coming up with some 2025 budgets, and it was just phenomenal to be able to go through and look historically at booked rate, app rate, and all of this data and be able to slice and dice it with dynamic reporting. Pulling from GA4 into Tableau, and it was just so helpful in modeling out what we think our approval rates are going to be, what we think the volume is going to be, and figure out spends. And it just saved me a ton of time, and I am so much more confident in those forecasts that we have. And it's just a note to really invest in data. If you are a marketer, it is so helpful and literally saved me hours, if not days, to be honest with you. So, and it worked really good. I'm just so confident where we are because we've got the ability to access dynamic data that's historical. And it's just a shout out to our data team.
Now it's time for this week's ICYMI.
ICYMI people,
This is something you just might not have seen. Maybe something that you overlooked, but you shouldn't have.
ICYMI people, Tiffany Vega shared this week from her @_dailytiff account on X. Automatically created assets are dangerous, and every time I give it a go, it backfires. The headline is, "We are, period, we aren't."
AI is the future.
And those automatically created assets can be really like hidden in your account. So make sure you know whether or not they're on and whether or not something like this is showing in your account. I think it's a nice reminder. But she said also a good reminder for me to work closely with the web and SEO team.
Now it's time for our must-read marketing article of the week. An article so advanced, so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show.
This week's must-read marketing article of the week is over on Search Engine Land from Sarah Taher. And Sarah talks about your guide to SEO forecasting with Google Sheets. Sarah has a very meaty article here. She talks about how to learn 3 different practical forecasting techniques to predict SEO performance, justify strategies, and measure progress. This is a really lengthy article, but she covers the forecast solution, the exponential smoothing forecasting that you can also use, and then a simple moving average. And I am a sucker, as everybody who's listening to the show knows, about really not just doing things on your own, but sharing it with the community as we try to do with the show. And man, Sarah shared quite a bit over on Search Engine Land, so I would not miss this. Thank you, Sarah.
And now on to our playlist of curated songs to work to. You can head over to playlist.marketingoclock.com to listen to Marketing a Playlist. Jess, what will you be adding this week?
I'm going with Clearing My Throat. Here Comes Your Man by the Pixies.
I will be adding Hot to Go by whatever Greg calls Chapel Roan. I forgot what it was.
Roma Dunze.
Roma Dunze. Greg?
Number 1 pick from the Chicago Bears. How could you forget that? But I cannot remember Chapel Roan. I'm going to go with Is It Just Me by Mike Posner.
All right, that does it for today's show.
It is now officially not Marketing Clock.
Thanks for listening.
We miss you already.
We can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Marketing O'Clock. If you're looking for more information on today's topics, head over to marketingoclock.com/newsletter to receive every single article we covered. We share the news as it breaks in our Discord community. Head over to community.marketingoclock.com to join.